So how niche do you need to go when you start out freelancing? Very common question and a difficult one to answer, but I'll give it my best shot. So what you really want to try and do is focus in on either an industry, a market, or a sector that you have some experience in. Blend that with an interest and a genuine passion, and that's where you can really start to get some traction in a niche where you can become effective. Let's just take a step back and think about the value of working in a specific niche. Now, imagine you're the prospect here in the process, speaking to a couple of freelance options that you could choose to work with for a project or a retainer. First of all, we use social media as the expertise in this case of the freelancer. First of all, we have someone who works across all platforms: LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and works with a wide range of industries and company sizes. They may have some experience, and they may have been in business for many years, but that is really the concept they have. Now, bearing in mind the prospect here works within the engineering space, we're going to move on to the second freelance option for them. Now, again, they may have a similar level of experience, but they exclusively worked with LinkedIn and for engineering companies of their size. They have case studies that back up that. They have testimonials from some of people in the industry that the engineering prospect is aware of and has heard of. Now, I'm painting a bit of a clear picture here, but you can imagine which one is the more compelling offer for the person deciding who to work with, which freelancer to work with in that case. Now, that's exactly the process you need to think about. It may not be as clear cut as that, but certainly if you've got some expertise and experience within related industries, or even if it's companies of slightly different sizes but have gone through the journey that business has gone through, the closer you can get to what the prospect wants, the higher the chances are that you're going to convert that client and be able to pick up that business. So in terms of identifying the niche, as I mentioned earlier, I think if you have experience, let's say you've been employed for a number of years and you've started freelancing, what was the sector you were working in your role? What was that market? Can you then replicate that? Not only does that mean you've got experience, but highly likely that ties in with some credibility and some understanding of the market, which means that you can provide a better level of service. Hopefully that blends well, as I say, with an interest and a passion. I think if you have an interest and a passion in an industry and market you're working in, you're likely to do better work. And that kind of fuels itself. I've talked about this in other videos, but having a passion is aligned with being good at something. Those two things will go hand in hand. So if you're good at working in a particular market, that's going to help. Now, the one thing I would say is it's a lot easier now, perhaps, when you market yourself to be able to cover a number of industries. So I wouldn't be too overly concerned about going really hyper niche and just focusing on that market. Let's take your website, for example, if that's going to play a part in the journey. You can create a number of landing pages, which are bespoke to the different sectors that you are interested in working in. Now, what you can do there is have a detailed landing page explaining exactly the offer for that market, and then you can tailor and personalize all the content on that page. So let's say, for example, it's the engineering context again. You could put in some case studies you have from working with engineering clients. You could also put some testimonials. Perhaps you've worked with some tech clients, so you could have another landing page which explains all the tech projects that you've worked on. Again, case studies, testimonials, personalized to that audience. It just depends on however you're going to market your service, is that you send the traffic to those particular landing pages, or maybe when you're having your sales calls, you personalize and tailor those conversations around the market. You share case studies with clients in that space. So you can have 2 or 3 niches. I think it works well if they obviously related and they overlap a little bit, because then you can use the experience from each of them. I also think, personally for me as a freelancer, I wanted to be excited and enjoy the projects I worked on. And for me, that came through new opportunities. So again, by going too niche, you don't want to get into a point where you're getting a little bit bored of the repetitiveness of the work. So by having 2 or 3 niches that you work in, perhaps you can give some more excitement and energy to the work that you're doing. The final point on niching down is that as you build up your credibility and your expertise over a period of time, you can start to broaden that out. You can start to broaden out your marketing, the topics that you talk about, because you'll have lots of credibility. One of the things I would say, for example, is as a marketing strategist, is that I understand marketing strategies, how to best market certain businesses. the client is always going to understand their industry, their target audience better than I am. It's up to me to get that information from them. So you can absolutely transfer some of your skills to work in different sectors if you want to explore that. But when starting out, going back to that example, there's no question it's much more compelling if you focus on the niche that your prospect is within, and you're going to have a better chance of converting and closing deals. Thanks very much.